welcome into Turf Talk, presented by Longstreth. We begin this edition of the show talking the Division Two platform, and we bring in Millersville head coach Shelly Barrett. And Shelly, your team is off to a 4-3 start this year. You're in your 16th season already. I can't believe we've known each other roughly
Yeah.
about 10 of those years.
Yep.
Solid season thus far. You play in the PSAC. Just kind of bring us up to speed. You've got a tough week coming up.
Yeah, we have a 3-game week. I'm probably the happiest 4-3 coach out there in field hockey right now, if I'm being honest. Again, you learn lessons in coaching, but it's not the lessons I need to learn. Sometimes they need to learn them. But excited. We started our conference play. And, the one thing about the PSAC is, it's Monday Night Football every time we play each other. And that's so much fun.
With that schedule that you have, because it is so difficult in the PSAC, just a little bit of you're trying to kind of massage going one way with the level of play, don't burn out the players. Is that really tough because the PSAC is so difficult?
Yeah, it truly is. I mean, if you look at our opening game, we were on the road Saturday, traveled, the night before, play an 11 a.m. game. I substituted 14 players that day. I mean, we're one that has a big roster. I'm probably one of those folks that's a rarity out there in college field hockey that I'm good with a big roster. We have 34. We subbed 14 kids in. And I probably still need to get 3 kids in the game that have really earned playing time, if I'm being honest. And so, yeah, it's managing this time of year as we're getting close to midterms. It's managing, it's the end of summer, but beginning of fall. So it's been like kind of a damp and dreary weather. And I know you've had some bad weather there and where you guys are. So, it's just kind of managing bodies, managing minds, and managing the hockey schedule.
Right. Division II championship in 2014, 2 PSAC titles. You just picked up 202. Hard to believe.
I know, right? And it feels like it should be more.
Being in the setting in Millersville, had the opportunity when we were doing the D2 games of the week. What a wonderful setting. The town embraces you all. I'm a prospective, let's go back a little bit here, and I'm a prospective athlete that's entertaining going to Millersville. What would you say would want to turn my page to kind of go your way and have that experience in Millersville?
Yeah, I think we really attract the right kind of people here for us. And I don't need the best hockey players. I need the right best field hockey players for Millersville, if I'm being honest. So the thing that I think makes us unique is the whole package. It's the academic, it's the athletic, and it's having fun playing a game we like and we're good at. And, and knowing the competition, you're going to be challenged every day. You're going to get a degree. And for me, Leah, honestly, I love the 4 or 5 years you're going to be with us, but I really am embracing the next 40 plus years for you. And I think the education we're going to give you and the life experience is going to prepare you that you can leave here and do anything you want.
Right. And that's
what
you're in the hockey. Yeah, and you're in the hockey hotbed there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Totally in the hockey hotbed. And I think the other thing that's really cool is you always seem to find that assistant coach that has just come out of college, that has aspirations to go into that next level and transition from the game into coaching. That has to be, for a player, I would think, pretty cool to be able to be that close to somebody that's decorated. And the list is long for you in that respect.
I'm lucky. I'm really lucky that we attract, again, the right people. I like to say that, I need people that make me look good because it's hard to make me look good, right? So we know that that's a tough job. But, I think it's a responsibility, I feel, coming back home. I grew up 30 minutes away. Millersville, for me, has turned into the job I'd want to apply for, if I'm being honest. And so I feel that responsibility to share with others, just like Char Moret and Beth Anders and others have shared with me, leave that legacy, pay it forward. And I think that's one of the reasons this area is so good is you see the kids that went out, they're coming back and they're teaching. And that's a positive for this area of field hockey for sure.
Well, and we talk about the poll and you guys have slipped. You're not in the poll this week. Okay. However, do you guys get hung up on that a little bit, or
no.
Is it nature of the beast, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. I love the polls, right? I love polls because I think it's good for our sport. Anything that gets our sport out there, Division 1, 2, and 3, our game of hockey, and to me, it's not where we start, it's where we finish. And so I think it's about us just embracing October and getting ready for conference play. So those things are super positive. Hey, we've been there for a while. Let somebody else have a go. And it's,
Right, right.
yeah, certainly
And
easier being the chaser.
and, and in D1, it's funny you say that because in D1, maybe about 3 weeks ago, Aaron Matson said to me, "Oh, yeah, we're sitting at 2. You don't think that fires me up to get our team to number 1?" And sure enough, the following week, the last 2 weeks now, they've sat at number 1, ahead of Northwestern. So totally get that. But it's interesting. You look at the top 10 in the PSAC, and 1,
Mhm.
2, and 3 remain the same with Ship, Coots, and ESU. In Westchester, now in Bloomsburg, and it's just the PSAC, PSAC, PSAC. I'm a student athlete, and I'm thinking, okay, it's really a no brainer. If I want to be at a high level of competition, I would think to be able to go to one of your schools and play the best every single day out.
I agree. I think how do we have what, 5, 6 national champions in our
Yep.
conference. So, I think again, you want to see what you're made of. Come play with us, and come play with us in the PSAC. And I'll say this, I think the one thing about us PSAC coaches, maybe not on game day are we best friends, but we all get along
Sure.
really well. And I totally think we bring out the best in each other. Our teams bring out the best in each other, and it's putting yourself on the line on game day every day is a
Mhm.
championship. Playing Shippensburg, it's championship day, right? It's game day. And, you know, it's exciting, and you get to find out, for me, I can tell you, I'm having so much fun. I just talked with our college president the other day, and he's like, Shelly, you're smiling. I go, Dr. Wuba, I'm having so much fun. He goes, that's the secret, isn't it? And again, I'm probably the
It is.
happiest 4-3 coach because I'm happy with our performance and I know where we can go. And we're in a marathon.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your team. What you like thus far that you're seeing, and and maybe a couple players that are really gelling for you right now, and maybe a player that you didn't expect or a couple players that you didn't expect that are really shining for you right now.
Yeah, I love our goalkeepers. They're the smartest ones on the field, right? So if that's any indication of what my position was, I
Exactly.
think
I was gonna say, where are you going with this here?
Kirsten Coons just does a fantastic job. She comes to work every day, and she does her job and she's smiling and, she's having a blast. We might leave the field and we had like 20 plus shots and she had a blast, like,
Right.
and that's really interesting. I really love our senior class. We have, 5 of them and then 2 super seniors. And, Sage Sign, Morgan Lennon, Gianna Cagino, I mean, they're just getting it. They're getting it. And the one
Right.
thing that I really love about these kids is they stay together. We embrace adversity, and not everything goes our way, but how we react to what goes our way, super important. And, I think that's a great life lesson, isn't it really? And we're playing good hockey. We're not maybe finishing. We had a overtime loss to Kutztown, great team, defending champs.
Hmm.
And so we're excited, to have another go at them, because we're
Hmm.
playing two games, one here, one there. I love what the kids are doing up front. They're working their tails off. Emily Buss is I think our leading goal scorer right now. And, the kids come out to work every day to make someone better.
That's
And
what it's all about.
it's so selfless and it's so
Hmm.
challenging to do. And trust me, the polls may mean not a lot to me, but it means a lot to them. And so don't think that they're not fired up. And I agree with Coach Matson on that one. But I think right now, we've moved some people around because it's what fits us best. But I really think we have, Meg Alvarez is sensational for her. She's a first year, just out of the gate, and plays on just pure instinct, and does a
Hmm.
great job and creates some havoc. We lost her for a couple games with an injury, but we have her back now. And, just we can move people in and out, Leah, and it's seamless for us. And I just love how we're performing day in and day out. So really looking forward to our game with Ship.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You talk about a 34 player roster.
Right.
I mean, that's ridiculous. But I think at the D2 level, there's that cool engagement, right? And be it in the classroom, smaller campus setting, the classroom's a little bit smaller, but your team's your family, and these are some of the best friendships you're going to have the rest of your life. And you wouldn't be coaching this long if you didn't feel that way too, right? Because these
100%.
players are your family, right? Extended
I,
family.
I, I spend more time with these guys than anyone else, and I love my time with them, and I love their families. And we refer to family as forget about me, I love you. Hence the
Right.
name family, right? The acronym.
Right.
And the time we get to spend together, we're laughing every day. We're having a good time. Now, don't get me wrong, we're competitive, and to
Hmm.
us, To compete means to strive together. Who are we making better? And I'm having so much fun with them, and then they're learning, and it's challenging and it's tough, and I can push them, and they're responding. And I'll tell you, the reason it works with a 34-person roster, there's no buy-in. The kids just get it. They know what the kids that came here, Peyton Bean playing in the backfield, a local kid from the area. She's doing a great job. I can sub my defense. I've never subbed my defense as much as I've subbed them this year, and I've had to actually sit them down and talk to them about that. They're like, "Hey, what am I doing wrong? You're subbing me." I'm like, "But you can be sharper as we go." And the kids get it. So their selflessness makes it work, because it doesn't work without them knowing what their role is, and everyone has a role.
So you're in the hockey hotbed there, and we're running off the Olympics. Are you seeing I wouldn't say any fallout from this, but the engagement, since we were all talking hockey through the summer this year as opposed to different years?
Again, I think we owe. I think it was one of the Debberdine sisters. Debberdine sisters was working out at the field. The kids were warming up. They're like, "Shelly, there's an Olympian at our field." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I'm like, "She can stay. Let her finish her workout." And she went over and just said hi to Taylor, and because Taylor West McCormick is one of our assistant coaches. So
right.
I think we all, and I thanked her. I said, "Thanks to you and your teammates. Thank you for what you did for us." And I think it had everyone talking, Leah, right? And field hockey is first foot out there. And so where do we go from here with that, as we talked about this summer? And the kids are watching hockey. What's funny is they're watching hockey on the bus. They're watching film. They're watching our film. They're watching, the Big Ten. They're watching the ACC. They're watching the Patriot League. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had kids so engaged in watching this sport before, as they are now. And I think because they're creatures of technology, they all have their phones, but yeah, I said, thank you for everything you've done. And I hope we can go somewhere with it.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because 10 years ago the games on the app were not available. There are more platforms to watch those games, and hopefully those players when they're in the bus, they're not just watching a game. Like I'll watch a game sometimes and I'll watch the game, but I'll watch the game sometimes, and for me, for what I do now, I'm listening to the announcers. And so hopefully, like your players on the bus, they're coming back and say, "Hey coach, I want to try this skill. I saw somebody doing that skill. Can we do that?" Are you kind of seeing that sometimes? Like,
oh yeah, they're talking about it.
Yeah,
they're talking about it. The kid, and I can't remember, I was watching Penn State. They talked about, the kid that did the spin move, right, and scored the goal. It was, against Lafayette. They're like, we were just talking about that today with the recruit from Easton. So yeah, I mean, I think you're right. The platforms were more readily available. Here I am watching, I'm watching SEAL Team on my iPad, and the kids are all watching hockey. And I kind of felt a little guilty the other night coming back from Indiana, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, they're all kind of watching field hockey. That's kind of funny, But
that's good though. They're drinking
cool.
and sleeping it, right?
Agree. I mean, I think it can only help us want to get better, and why not dream big? Why not?
Well, Shelly, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Good luck the rest of the way. I'm sure we'll chat again as the season continues, as we always do. But thank you so much.
Thanks, my friend. Stay well. Be safe.
Thank you. You as well. We're going to take a quick time out here, and we'll be back with more Turf Talk after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to Turf Talk, presented by Longstreth. This week is Umpire Appreciation Week, and with that time comes an opportunity to appreciate umpires at all levels around the country. And joining us right now, the top umpire around the country, the director of umpiring for USA Field Hockey, and Sean Rappaport. Sean, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Hey, Leah, great to be with you today.
Excellent. Appreciate you. Sean, the umpiring piece for athletes that are coming out of the sport in college, what can we do as a group to have their timeline continue with the sport so that we don't lose them to a sport that has been good to them that they love?
Yeah, I mean, something that it's been a hot topic the last number of months. Actually, today I'm 2 years in the role, 2 years in the US. So it's something that's been really apparent to me, that we've got a huge number of high school players who finish playing at the end of high school, don't continue, as well as a huge number of college level players who, at the end of their college playing careers, they put the stick down and they don't necessarily stay involved in the game. Many do carry on and continue to become coaches, and some play at the highest levels of the game after that, but we see very few go into umpiring, and we need to tap into that resource. People are the resource when it comes to umpiring, and we need to ensure that we create an environment that's attractive to people, and they see this as a way of staying involved in the game that they've loved and been engaged in for so long.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm coming out of high school, I'm going to college, and that piece just won't work for me at the college level to continue playing, where might I find the correct information to be able to make that next step or inquire about becoming an umpire?
Yes, I mean, we would like to catch people even during their playing careers, show an interest, because I think what's so important about umpiring and understanding the game from an umpire's perspective is it actually makes you and can make you a much better player. It can make you a better coach. It can make you a better informed parent. So umpiring shouldn't be limited to people just wanting to actually step on the field as an umpire. It should be, across the board, just an appreciation for the rules, and how to better understand and engage in the game. That having been said, of course, when somebody decides, okay, well, my playing days are over, we want to be able to give them the platform to continue, and that's where we've been hosting online education clinics. We've been running those in the spring and the fall of each year. We're looking at increasing that offering, and continuing on with that beyond the starter level 1. We also have various events around the country under the banner of USA Field Hockey, where we provide in-person coaching and mentorship for those people coming through. So starting out at your local level, ascertaining who your local association is, getting in touch with them, seeing where you can get involved, where you can go and shadow somebody, where you can pick up a whistle and get on the field at a grassroots level. Less pressure, and just get a feel for it, while at the same time acknowledging the fact that there are some people who are ready to hit the ground running at a much higher level.
Right.
Your previous guest, Shelley, was talking about players at the D2 level, and mention was made of Kutztown. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Kutztown.
You did very well there.
Did I? Okay. I'm getting somewhere. I'm also picking up some of the acronyms now. I'm getting much better at those, and PSAC and the like. But we've actually just had an umpire who graduated from Kutztown and went to the Pan Am Challenge, which is the qualification tournament for the Pan Am Cup, 2 years after picking up a whistle for the first time. So went from college player to college coach, the student coach, to picking up the whistle, and came to a few US events, identified as somebody who just reads and appreciates the game so quickly. And a shout out to her, Erica Barbera. She just came back, her first tournament abroad, and she did the bronze medal game, and came back with a glowing report. So it's about identifying those people who want to stay involved in the game in different ways, and then giving them all the tools possible to succeed.
Yeah, I know. When I went to college, I wasn't ready to give up the game. An injury kind of pushed me into the other sports that I played, and the high school umpires in my area had heard about the situation, and they were instrumental to get me involved. And then I umpired for 15 years, at different levels. They called it sectionals and different things. It's not the type of levels that you have now in the titles, but I was able to do quite a few games during that time span and through the rest of college, and it was so much fun to go back to the different high schools I played against and my old high school and my hometown, and be able to continue on and play. And I think you brought up a good point in the fact that, like, there's parents that go to games that may not understand what's being called out there on the field, and this is a great opportunity, even if they do it online,
Yeah.
to have that piece.
Yeah, we've just last night, in fact, was the final night of our fall online clinic. It was run over 3 weeks, each Monday night for a couple of hours, and we had 200 people registered for this one.
Wow.
And of those 200, 10% of them, 20 of the attendees were active umpire members. The rest were made up of mainly players at the high school and college level, as well as a number of coaches. And then quite a few parents as well. And then people who are not yet umpire members, but who are interested in becoming umpire members. So there's that thirst for knowledge and understanding out there. And it's a case of ensuring that we have the resources out there that are readily available for people. So the best place to start is our website. We keep that up to date with those offerings. As well as the opportunities for people to come to our events and umpire. We have many of our bigger events where you have hundreds of teams attending, and you've got it from U10, U12 level all the way through to U19, U21, and the seniors. So there's a place for everybody, and we're always happy to have new people. So anybody who's interested, if they get in touch, we will make sure we find a spot for them.
That's great. Now, Sean, your path as an umpire, and I understand everyone's path's a little bit different based on their level of umpiring, grasping the game. But what could a typical person kind of anticipate as far as their progression and the potential, like you, to be at the stature that you're at?
Yeah, I mean, my journey started at age 5, playing hockey. So it's not that my introduction was umpiring; it was playing, and then it was coaching, and then it was umpiring. So it was a lifetime of involvement in field hockey, and that's how I became involved in umpiring. For some people, it'll be playing and then umpiring. For some people, umpiring will be the first stop, and everybody's journey looks so different. In this picture, you can actually see that's there are a lot of people involved there who've got a huge amount of international experience, and who are making waves on the international scene. You'll see Maggie Giddens in that photo. I mean, she's done 150 international matches, and seeing her on the field at the collegiate level, people should be delighted to have her on their games. And does it mean that Maggie Giddens is going to get every decision correct every week? No, she's going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. And when people understand that it's not about being perfect. Perfection doesn't look there. Let me finish that thought, and then we'll get onto this picture. But perfection for a long time as an umpire, and I think it held me back in many ways, is being somebody who's OCD, being somebody who's a perfectionist. My background is in law. Trying to get everything perfect, or what I thought was perfect, means getting every decision correct. It's not about getting every decision correct. It's about getting as many of them correct as possible. And those that you do get wrong, you've just got to go with that. And the sooner you can accept the fact that you've got something wrong or missed something, and you move on from it, and for people to also understand that you're not trying to get anything wrong. It's just something that happens. And then there are also those 50-50 calls that sometimes they go for you and sometimes they go against you. And was it as frustrating as hell as a player and a coach? Yes, obviously I was frustrated wearing those hats. But it also made me appreciate a little bit more as an umpire. And I think that gave me a leg up in some ways. But yeah, umpiring journeys, I think there are many people who have been much better umpires than me along the way, who haven't got as far as I've got. Sometimes it's right place, right time. You have your good game on a day that the right person's watching you. And other people, it takes that much longer. But I mean, between me first picking up a whistle and me doing my first international was almost 10 years. So it's not a quick journey for everybody. Erica just went to her first tournament. It was 2 years. So you look at that and you say, oh, well, she's going to be 5 times the umpire that I ever was. But it doesn't always work out that way. So yeah, everybody's journey is different. I see there, that's me wearing my umpire manager hat, giving a bit of feedback at one of our events. And there's Olivia Ben-Cole, a
Yes.
great college level player who's actually an excellent umpire. Does a brilliant job umpiring. And, she's certainly got further international aspirations. Some people worry that, hey, the umpiring community is going to steal players away, good players. No, that's not the idea at all. But there's no reason why you can't do a bit of umpiring while you're still playing too. And then when you're done with your playing, you've got that feel for the game, which is sometimes lacking in umpires.
Right.
Some people don't need to have played, and they've got that feel. It doesn't have to come from playing. And she's a prime example of somebody that I hope one day will go on to have a really long and successful umpiring career too.
Right. And I'm sure that's going to help Olivia on the field as far as approaching umpires too, when there's a question of something on the field, right? Yeah.
I did a game of hers on the weekend. I had a Northwestern game. And you know what? We might know each other and chat off the field, but when it's on the
Sure.
field, hey, you
There's
ain't getting
respect.
any favors.
Yeah, no,
And
no.
it's business as always. And it's good for her to, appreciate that. And I don't think she's ever looked at me and thought, hey, that 50-50 call, why don't I get it when you're on my games? It's never going to be like that.
Right.
And it's those, it's the understanding of players and coaches as to where umpires fit in and what we're trying to achieve as an umpiring community. We're serving the game, and we're trying to make it safe and enjoyable and skillful and flowing and entertaining for everybody. And we don't look at individuals, and we don't look at coaches, and we don't look at stats and who should be winning a game or by how much. It's just what presents itself on the day, and we've got to go and make calls accordingly.
John, we've got to wrap it up here, but you've got to promise me that you're going to come back on the show before the season ends, because there's just so many other things I would like to dive into with you. The umpire review, just like all different aspects of conversation that we could have. But I would like to say, Happy Umpire Appreciation Week. It runs through October 6th. We appreciate you from the field to the broadcast booth. It's a great sport, and you guys make it flow real nice and easy.
Thank you. So, I'll close out by saying, yes, I'm happy to come back on and chat to you again. This has been great fun, first time for everything, and hopefully there are more of these. And then just all the umpires out there, and not just the umpires, but everybody who supports the umpires in them getting there. You've got people who've got families, who've got jobs, who've got other commitments, and notwithstanding all of that, they're committed to getting on the field every week and serving the game. So to all the umpires out there, thank you for what you continue to do. And providing the platform for players and coaches, spectators, fans, parents, to all enjoy the game that we love so much.
All right, Sean, really quick, one more time. Where can folks go if they aren't being reached out by people in their own state? Where can they go to the website to find out information about being an umpire?
Yeah, I've sent you the link, and hopefully you can hyperlink it, but it's usafieldhockey.com. And if they just look under umpire, all the information is there.
Great. Sean, thanks so much. I'm sure we'll see you down the road somewhere at a game before the season ends.
Thanks so much, and have a good week, everybody. Enjoy Umpire Appreciation Week.
Cheers. All right, we're going to take another quick timeout, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Division 2, Division 3, and Division 1 polls. We'll also have the highlight of the week. So stay with us here on Turf Talk. Welcome back to Turf Talk. We now look at our Division 1 poll, and no changes this week in the D1 poll, with UNC having the week off. They will take a West Coast swing this weekend to take on Cal and Stanford for the first time in ACC play. Northwestern sitting at number 2. UVA had a solid week as well. They're still undefeated. And how about Ohio State? Creeping along, doing their business, undefeated. Maryland And Michigan moves up in the poll to number 6. UConn making their first appearance in the top 10. Iowa dropping 1. Harvard moving up 1 in the polls. So the interesting part of the season starts now. We're rolling into October. Before you know it, in D1, we will be in November. And then, of course, at the end of the month of November becomes the Division I championship. This year, it is being held back again in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm sure those Wolverines would love the opportunity not only to host, but to be a part of it. And creeping back into the top 10, maybe one of the indications that they are starting to turn it on in this season. All right, now over in Division 3, let's look at their poll. Pretty much has stayed the same. Middlebury, Salisbury, Williams, Johns Hopkins, Christopher Newport, all the same. And then slight changes on the bottom side there in 9 and 10, with Bryn Mawr rounding out the top 10 in Division 3. Now, every week you have an opportunity to send your high school highlight in for consideration, right? For consideration to be posted on the Longstreth site and possibly be seen here on the show. So, our high school play of the week for Longstreth, the highlights, we go down to Houston, Texas, one of the toughest programs, two of the toughest programs in the country. Number 5, Kincaid, taking on number 1, Hill.
No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot.
At maxfieldhockey.com for the possibility of consideration to be our highlight of the week. Now, that's going to wrap up this edition of Turf Talk. So glad you could join us on the show. We have much more ahead for you on the coming weeks. If you have an idea, please reach out. We will try to get it on the show. But for now, that wraps up this edition of Turf Talk. Don't forget, appreciate your umpires this week through October 6th, but all season long as well. Have a good week, everybody.